Hey everyone, and welcome back to Baha'i Reflections. It is so good to have you with us as we continue to explore the depths of the Baha'i teachings together. If you find these deep dives valuable, the best way to stay in the loop is to subscribe to the channel. And for those of you who want to support our work a bit more directly and get some early access to content, we'd love for you to consider joining our channel membership. All right, so today we're jumping right back into our Ruhi Deep Dive series. We're focusing on the incredible wisdom in Book 7, which is called Walking Together on a Path of Service. Now, for anyone who might be new to this, the Ruhi books are this amazing, structured way to deepen our understanding and really build up our ability to serve our communities. It's a journey of spiritual growth, but also really practical growth, too. And we are starting right at the very beginning with Unit 1, The Spiritual Dynamics of Advancing on a Path of Service. This unit gets right to the heart of it all. It explores those unseen forces, that spiritual engine that really pushes us forward when we dedicate our lives to helping others. To really set the tone for what we're about to get into, let's just sit with this powerful passage for a moment. The seeker, when immersed in the ocean of the love of God, will be moved by intense longing and will arise to carry out the laws of God. Wow. That just beautifully captures the kind of spiritual motivation we're going to be unpacking today. So this powerful idea really leads us to the big question for today's explainer. What are the spiritual forces that actually fuel this journey of service? We're going to explore this step by step using the incredible framework that Book 7 lays out for us. So, like with so many things in our spiritual lives, this whole journey, it doesn't start on the outside, it starts inwardly. The very first theme we're going to look at is this beautiful idea of polishing the inner mirror. It's such a powerful metaphor for preparing our own hearts for service. And this idea is just so perfectly put by Abdu'l-Bahá, who says, "Our duty lies in seeking to polish the mirrors of our hearts, in order that we shall become reflectors of that light and recipients of the divine bounties." The metaphor couldn't be clearer, right? Our hearts are like mirrors. They're literally designed to reflect the light of God, but, and here's the key, they require our conscious effort to be kept clean. And the text draws a really stark contrast here. On one hand, you've got a polished heart. It's described as illumined and receptive, able to reflect the sun in all its glory. But on the other hand, there's an obscured heart. This one is covered by the dust and dross of this world. It's like a layer of rust or grime that completely blocks the light, even though the sun itself is always, always shining. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we take this abstract idea and make it practical? Well, the book gives us some really concrete actions. Things like prayer, performing goodly deeds, really working to cultivate a genuine love for all of humanity, and of course, consistently studying the creative word. These are presented as the essential tools we need for our own spiritual purification. And this connects right back to who we are at our core. Bahá'u'lláh reveals that God has invested the pure, the gem-like reality of man with a unique capacity of knowing him and of reflecting the greatness of his glory. So you see, this whole act of polishing the mirror, it's not about creating something new. It's about uncovering and revealing the incredible, gem-like potential that's already inside every single one of us. So, our hearts are polished. Now what? What actually drives us forward on this path? What's the engine for service? Well, the text frames this powerful motivator around the whole concept of faith. The number one fuel for this spiritual engine is the love of God. And the writings define this as something way beyond just a fleeting human emotion. It says, "For true love, real love, is the love for God, and this is sanctified beyond the notions and imaginings of men." It's this transcendent love that truly purifies the heart. This love then finds its expression through what are called the twin duties. These are like the two fundamental pillars of our spiritual lives. First, it's recognizing the manifestation of God for our time, Bahá'u'lláh. And second, it's obedience to the laws and teachings he brought.
The book is so clear that you just can't separate these two. You can't have one without the other. And just so we don't think of obedience as some heavy, burdensome thing, this passage just reframes it so beautifully. Baha'u'lláh says, "Know assuredly that my commandments are the lamps of my loving providence among my servants and the keys of my mercy for my creatures." So they're not restrictions. They're loving guides. They're lamps in the darkness, and they're keys that unlock the doors to divine mercy.
So this leads us to this really powerful spiritual equation. The text basically says that true faith isn't just some passive belief system you hold in your head. No way. It's this dynamic combination of both knowledge, our real understanding of the divine teachings, and action, actually performing good works. One without the other is just, well, it's incomplete.
So that brings us from our inner motivation to how it shows up in the world. This next section is all about the active pursuit of this path, focusing on the crucial roles of action, effort, and even sacrifice.
And this part gives us a fascinating breakdown of how spiritual action progresses. It all kicks off with hope, which is described as this constant trust in God. That hope then gives rise to a longing desire, a deep spiritual thirst to see His will done. And that desire is what fuels our effort, our own will and action. And then, ultimately, this journey can lead us to the station of sacrifice, which is the renunciation of our own self for a higher, divine purpose. It's just a beautiful, logical flow from feeling to doing. The whole idea of sacrifice is illustrated with this incredibly poignant metaphor from Abdu'l-Bahá. Behold the candle, how it gives light. It weeps its life away, drop by drop, in order to give forth its flame of light. You see? This shows us that spiritual sacrifice isn't about loss just for the sake of loss. It's about willingly giving up something of a lower nature, like the wax of a candle, so you can release something of a much, much higher nature, that brilliant, beautiful light.
So, after all this inner work, this polishing of the heart, this spirit of sacrifice, what's the result? What is the ultimate outcome of walking this path of service with real sincerity? Well, the final theme the book explores is both profound and incredibly simple. It's joy.
It's so important, though, that we understand what kind of joy we're talking about here. This isn't the same as happiness, right? Happiness is often fleeting. It depends on what's happening around us. The text defines this spiritual joy as a fundamental condition of a soul connected to God. It's a deep, stable, inner state that can be there even when we're going through the inevitable ups and downs of life.
This first passage links sacrifice directly to joy. Abdu'l-Bahá encourages us, saying, "Ye must in this matter," that is, the serving of humankind, "lay down your very lives, and as ye yield yourselves, rejoice." Isn't that an amazing paradox? In the very act of giving absolutely everything, we find the deepest reason to rejoice. And this second passage, wow, it just builds to this incredible climax. Abdu'l-Bahá invites us to become oblivious of our own selves, and drinking down the wine of heavenly grace, let us cry out our joy and lose ourselves in the beauty of the all-glorious. And this is describing the very peak of the spiritual journey, a state where the self just fades away and it's replaced by this overwhelming feeling of joy and divine connection. So as we wrap up this part of our exploration, we're kind of left with this profound question to think about. How do all these spiritual dynamics, the polished heart, the love of God, active effort, the spirit of sacrifice, how do they all combine to transform what could be a path of struggle into a path of deep, unshakable joy? We've now walked through the core spiritual dynamics that really bring the path of service to life, as laid out in this first unit of Ruhi Book 7. But guess what? This is just the beginning of our exploration. Our deep dive into this incredible book is going to continue, and we really, truly look forward to having you with us for the next part of this journey. Thank you so much for joining us for this reflection. If these ideas resonated with you, we'd love for you to subscribe for more deep dives, share your own thoughts down in the comments, and pass this along to anyone you think might find it valuable.
And a special, heartfelt thank you goes out to our channel members. Your generous support is what makes all this work possible. We can't wait to see you next time.